Hello class 9 students, today we are going to start a new chapter, that is tissue. So let's begin the lesson number 1. We know that living organisms are of two types. They are unicellular and multicellular. Now in unicellular it is made up of single cell. So unicellular organisms are made up of only one cell. For example, amoeba. In multicellular it is made up of many cells. For example, human beings and plants. Clear? All the functions performed by the same cell in case of unicellular. Now in unicellular organisms, that one cell only carries out all the functions needed by the organism. While in multicellular organisms, they use many different cells to function. Alright, so different functions are performed by different cells. This is known as division of labor. Clear everyone? Now see here, every multicellular living body consists of cell. So cell, it is the basic unit of life. Don't forget this. This cell, it is the basic unit of life. Now this cell divide to form group of cells called as tissues. So see here, this cell, it divides to form a group of cells and this is called as tissues. Different tissues perform different functions. So these different tissues, they perform different functions. Tissues come together to form different organs. Now we know that different tissues organize to form an organ. So organs such as the heart, the lungs, the stomach, the kidneys, the skin, liver, these are made up of two or more types of tissue organized to serve a particular function. Alright, so see here, these are the organs. Now all organs performing same function come together to form organ system. Now, organ system means it is a biological system consisting of a group of organs which work together to perform one or more functions. Clear everyone? Now, all organ systems together form an organism. So, organism means when a living thing that has an organized structure can react to stimuli, reproduce, grow, adapt and maintain homeostasis. It is called organism. Clear everyone? So we saw that tissue is a group of cells performing a specialized function. Alright, now how do we define a tissue? So we can define tissue, a group of cells that are similar in structure and or work together to achieve a particular function forms a tissue. Now a tissue is a group of cells that have similar structure and that function together as a unit. Alright? I hope everyone is clear now what is a tissue. Next we will study tissues in plants and animals. Plants and animals both are made up of tissues. Now see here, plant tissues include xylem, phloem, collenchyma, scalenchyma, epidermis and meristematic tissue. Whereas animal tissues include epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscle tissue and nerve tissue. But there are differences in the functions of body parts of plants and animals. Now, even though the plants and animals, they are made up of tissues, but there are differences in the functions of body parts of plants and animals. For example, growth in plants is restricted to the tips of a stem and roots. As you can see here, the growth in plants, it is restricted to the tips of stem and roots. That means growth in plants is limited to certain regions within the plant body. Whereas in case of animals, the growth is uniform all over the body. As you can see here in case of animals, so in case of human beings, let us consider from baby to a complete adult. The growth is uniform all over the body. That means in animals, the growth pattern is not similar to that of plants. Plants are stationary or fixed, they don't move. We know that plants, they do not move, they are fixed. Animals on the other hand move around in search of food, mates and shelter. So animals, they move around in search of food, shelter and mates. They are not fixed. Most of the tissues in plants are dead, since dead cells can provide mechanical strength as easily as live ones and need less maintenance. Now most plant tissues, they are dead because dead cells, they provide mechanical strength as easily as live ones and they also need less maintenance. So these dead cells are limited to certain regions that are responsible for providing the mechanical strength or other protective functions. As I already told you, that growth in plants is limited to certain regions within the plant body, right? So these dead cells, they do not interfere with the growth of the plants. Whereas in case of animals, the growth pattern is not similar. As you already know, it is not similar to that of plants, because for which the dead cells, if present, it would interfere with the growth of animal. And moreover, animal, they do not need to be constantly moving. Hence, cells too have to be very active so as to provide the energy and the necessary support to carry out such activities. Clear, everyone? Whereas in animals, most of the tissues are living. So now we already got to know that most of the tissues in plants, they are dead. But in animals, most of the tissues, they are living. So obviously the structure of tissues in plants and animals will also be different. So now definitely the structure of tissues in plants and animals will also be different. Now look carefully. This is the structure of a tissue in animals. Alright? And this is the structure of a tissue in plants. Clear, everyone? Now see plant tissues. Plants are made up of a number of tissues that work together. So plants, they are made up of a number of tissues which work together. Vascular tissue conducts food and water from one part of the plant to another. Now see here, this vascular tissue, it is a complex conducting tissue formed of more than one cell type, and it is found in vascular plants. And the primary components of this vascular tissue are the xylem and phloem. Alright, and these two tissues, they transport fluid and nutrients internally. The tissue for growth are located at the tips of root and stem. So this tissue for growth in plants, they are located at the tips of root and stem. Can you see it? Now see here, depending upon the dividing capacity of the cells, plant tissues can be classified as meristematic tissues and permanent tissues. So meristematic tissues, where cells capable of cell division. So in meristematic tissues, cell division occurs. That means cell can be divided. Whereas in permanent tissues, mature cells incapable of cell division. So cell division does not occur in permanent tissues. Permanent tissues are further classified as simple. So in simple, that means it is made up of one type of cells, and a complex. That means it is made up of more than one type of cells. As I already told you, vascular tissue, it is a complex conducting tissue. That means it is formed of more than one cell type. Alright. Now simple tissues are of 6 types. Let us see. First one is parenchyma. Second one is collerenchyma. Third one is arrhymenchyma. Fourth one is collenchyma. Fifth one is scalenchyma. And last one is the surface tissue. That means the epidermis. And there are 2 complex tissues. They are, yes, xylem and phloem. I hope everyone is clear. So we will study them one by one in our next lecture. Thank you, students.